up, lab rats? This is Tom Lando, and welcome to our first Metal Lab podcast. And I'm joined by my co-host, Rich.
Hi guys.
Good evening, Rich, and thank you for joining me.
So, what's all this about then? What is the Metal Lab podcast?
Well, we're going to be bringing all of the underground metal and unsigned metal to the masses, just to make sure that everyone knows what underground scene is all about.
Fantastic. Why not let's start with a little about what we're going to hope to achieve going forward. Basically, if you're into metal and you want to hear some more good metal, then come join us at the Metal Lab. It's what we want to do, it's what we want to give you, and I hope everyone enjoys it. So Tom, who are we going to have playing as our very first track on the Metal Lab podcast?
So this week we have got an amazing band from Virginia, and they are metalcore 5-piece, and they're called Dying Oath.
Oh, fantastic. And what's the name of the track?
The track is called End of Days, which is their new single just been released.
Fantastic. Okay guys, enjoy Dying Oath.
Hey guys, this is Mindy from Dying Oath, and you are listening to the Metal Lab podcast.
So that was Dying Oath with End of Days. So Tom, obviously I know what the Metal Lab page is, and you know what the Metal Lab page is, but there may be some people out there, some poor souls, who don't know what it's all about. So what kind of things can they expect to find if they become members of the Metal Lab page?
Well, we have some amazing segments, and we have daily segments. So we have a segment like Women Rock. So Women Rock every week is we showcase a female artist from a band.
Fantastic.
And then our admin Mishala will do a bio on that, and then a track that goes with it.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
We also have one of my favourite segments, Artist Showcase. So if you're an artist out there and you want any of your stuff showcased, post it onto our page. A lot of the artists on there are very grassroots artists. They're not even signed. A lot of them are just playing raw acoustic stuff, which is what we want to help promote as well. Yeah. We have a few little fun things like Sunday Surgery, which is mostly like you pull up a post, like a topic like who's your favourite underground band, or what plectrums are you using and stuff like that, just for the entertainment of a Sunday afternoon, because no one has anything else to do on a Sunday.
Well, obviously you need to answer those important questions of whether you need a thick or thin plectrum to play proper metal.
We host Tom's Track of the Week, which is my segment. So I find different underground bands and I choose a track from one of their albums, and I present that as my track of the week. Yes. I try to delve in as much as I can, as underground as I can, so that no one's ever heard of the band.
So where do you find these underground bands then? So take me on a little journey then. How do you discover a new band that no one's heard of?
Some of it is just being on another group, maybe listening to stuff and finding a band that I've never heard of. Or I will research on the internet and I'll just search for a city in a certain country, and I'll say, search for the underground stuff, or even sometimes on the Metal Around the World if I do that segment.
Yeah.
And I find the bands there. But I think a couple of weeks ago I'd put a band out, and there was people from that city that had never even heard of the band. And that's how underground we want it to be.
Exactly. Fantastic. And what else is on there, or what else can people interact with on the page?
Well, as people would see every week, that we have a 6-day event called Battle of the Bands. Now, Battle of the Bands is the brainchild of mine.
Very modest of you.
Yes. But it's something that no one else is doing. I think it's very successful. We pit 2 bands against each other for 6 days. We choose a YouTube track of the band's choice, which leads to people going to their channel, which is good for them as well. We have a nice flyer that they can share about for their fans and people that want to vote for them. And then people just drop a vote, and at the end of the week, on the Saturday, we count the votes up, and the winner gets an exclusive interview on a Monday Night Metal Madness with a Berg Studio in South Africa.
And great they are too. So that's awesome. So, talking of bands that we like, what's the next track that we've got coming up for you?
So we have from Tennessee, the band is called Cage and Elliott, and the song is called Don't Tread on Me.
Nice.
To make my life a living You made a big mistake. Your actions sealed your fate. Tell me, how does karma taste? Don't you tread on me.
That was Don't Tread on Me by Cage and Elliott. So, Tom, you mentioned about your segment Metal Around the World. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that segment?
It's a bit like a musical journey. I do it every fortnight now because of the research and how long it takes me to find the bands. So I will delve into countries that you would never even associate with metal,
Yeah.
and try and find the bands or the underground bands that play there. I've visited countries like Africa, Lebanon, Pakistan, Iran, Algeria.
Yeah, and there's been some amazing bands that have come out of that. So where do you start your process? Because obviously, especially in the time of pandemic, it's not like you're actually literally jumping on a plane and going to these places to find them. So where is it that you start your journey for these?
Usually I message the bands, find out where they come from. And
so it's
then,
the bands that catch your ear first.
yes.
Then. Yeah.
I'll find out what city they come from. I'll match 3 bands up, and then I'll do like a little Google map thing of where I'm travelling to,
Right, okay.
and then I'll put that in 2 words. I'm jumping on a boat, or I'm on a plane and I'm flying here, or I'm in the African one I had Bobby, who was my guide, and he was taking me in his jeep,
Right,
through the the woods and stuff. And so it's just trying to make people have that sense of what they would experience if they were on that journey.
It definitely seems like you've been to some of these places the way it's described, and again coming across some of these bands from countries like you said you wouldn't necessarily associate with metal. To me that's been really nice getting to hear what's coming out of some of these places, and I know that we've had some positive feedback from them as well, so definitely share the love for the Metal Around the segment, because a lot of these bands obviously they don't have mainstream outlets. People don't necessarily know to go look for them, so I think it's definitely a fantastic segment, so definitely something worth checking out on the Metal Lab page.
Definitely.
So our third track, Tom, who's this going to be?
Well, this is a band out of Canada, and one of my favourite bands actually. I shouldn't really say that because everyone's my favourite bands, but these have become very good friends of mine. They're a band called Sonic Detour, and the track is called Rise. You'll love this, guys.
Let's go.
Hey, this is Marcus from Sonic Detour, and you're listening to the Metal Lab podcast.
What an amazing track. Well, that was Rise by Sonic Detour. So, Rich, can you give us a bit of insight into the Metal Lab's gig guides and what it's all about?
Yeah, of course. So, obviously, one of the things that we had when we was younger, you'd go bike around, you'd look in the back pages to see if there was any gigs near you that you can go and see. And obviously, the internet is a massive place and everyone tries to put all of their stuff out there. And one of the things we're trying to do with the Metal Lab is make a place where everyone can come and share where they're playing and get everyone interested and let them know that there are shows going on and they can find them. So one of the things on the Metal Lab page you'll find is the gig list. So every Thursday we'll put out a post on there inviting people to come and say where they're playing, what shows they're going to put links of their shows, where the people can buy tickets. But also for promoters, if you've got a venue and you want to start putting on live music, come look at our page, come look at the gig list, come look at these touring bands. People want to hear this. People want to play. They just need somewhere to play. And at the moment, obviously, the pandemic hasn't allowed that to really go on, and obviously different countries around the world are dealing with it differently, and there's going to be different times at which live gigs are going to start coming through. But everything will come back, and obviously live music, I'm hoping to be a big part of that. And at the moment there are so many bands that are just raring to go. People have been cooped up, they've been practicing. So I think any band that gets booked are going to bring with them some energy, and I think promoters and venues have to trust that an unsigned band doesn't mean unprofessional.
No.
Doesn't mean not good. And I think there's this real misunderstanding of what a professional band is. People think you get signed and that's it, now you're a professional band, but before that the best you can do is play a small pub. And that's just not true. It's people love their music, whether that's enjoying it by listening to it or whether that's creating it by playing. And so the gig list is somewhere where people can come onto the page, they can let us know where they're playing, they can promote themselves, and I think it's really important that there is a place where everyone can come together, where venues can say, look, we'd love to put on a show, are there any bands out there in this vicinity that would come to play? And vice versa, bands, if you want to play gigs, go up to venues, ask them, say, look, we want to play. And if you need help to convince venues that you need to be able to get advertising and such like, by all means, come onto the page, drop a message, ask people for support, and we will do whatever we can to help people get out there and play.
I mean, I think some of the EPs and the quality of the EPs at the moment is just unbelievable. I mean, I heard of a band, I think the Wormhaven, they're one of our Battle of the Bands winners, and the production of their EP was, I was astounded. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought that they were an underground band.
And this is the thing, it's these musicians are fantastic musicians, and I think it's a case of people need to know where they can see these shows, and people need to know that these shows will go on. I think when we were younger, it was the fact that there was certain venues, certain pubs that you knew every week there was going to be bands on, whether you knew who they were or not. You knew there was always going to be live music, and it was always going to be good, and you was going to have fun. And I think that's been lost a little, especially with the number of pubs that are no longer operating. So I think it's on all of us to help each other to keep live music alive, because I think everyone needs it in their life.
And everyone needs underground metal in their life.
Okay, so on to our next track, Tom. Who have we got now?
Okay, so we have a band from Chester. They are called Disconnected Souls, and the album is called Warring Elements, and the track that we're going to play tonight has quite a quirky little intro, and it's called Oathbreaker.
Let's go.
this life you have will rent. Can you see the circle of vultures who waste your rent? Can you feel it worsen? This life you have will rent. Don't you know when we sit face to face I see that little look in your eye when you lie to me? All our love was a place of animosity. Could we ever go back to what we used to be? Do you remember what I said when you walked away? Will you look back in fondness on our yesterdays? Was it all an act, just a role that you portrayed? Well, I guess you never even cared anyway. Don't you know when we sit face to face I see that little look in your eye when you lie to me? All our love was a place of animosity. Could we ever go back to what we used to be? Do you remember what I said when you walked away? Will you look back in fondness on our yesterdays? Was it all an act, just a role that you portrayed? Well, I guess you never even cared anyway.
So that was Oathbreaker by Disconnected Souls.
Fantastic. Okay, so time for a little bit of fun now with the Metal Lab question, to end all questions, to tax us, to bring us shaking to our cause. So Tom, long hair or no hair?
Well, as if people might not know me, I don't have any hair. So I'm going to say...
Well, you have hair, it's just not on the top of your head.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd say no hair.
So do you think then you can't be metal if you've got long hair?
Well, I'd say you look a bit more metal with no hair. Look at Phil Anselmo, he's a great example, isn't he? You wouldn't mess with that guy in a pub, would you, if you spilt a pint, you know?
No.
Exactly, but if you looked at John Bon Jovi, you'd probably keep his head in. So there you go.
So is that the main reason? It's just they're just.
I just think in the 90s, it became more apparent that a lot more metal vocalists had shorter hair.
There was a definite change, wasn't there, away from that hair metal.
Yeah, definitely. The 90s new metal, you know, you had even Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Yeah.
You know, he had short hair.
Yeah.
You know, and for a while, Burton T. Bell, he sort of had a lot shorter hair than...
Well, even Bruce Dickinson's had a shave.
Yeah, so I think it's more apparent as the new metal scene sort of came into things, and it wasn't sort of, oh yeah, we're going to be like Kiss from the 1970s and have long black curly hair.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the long hair now for me is more going back to the 70s rock era.
Okay.
White Snake and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, more of your Led Zeppelins and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, the old school
Kind of cock rock kind of.
Yes,
stuff.
exactly. So yeah, so no hair.
Over long hair.
Over long hair.
Okay. Well, that answers that question that's been hanging over everybody. So Tom, our next track, what's that going to be?
Well, we have from Clearfield, Pennsylvania. We have the band Endbringer. And the track is Less Than Perfect.
Fantastic.
I'm a goddamn failure. Losers never even try. I'll steamroll through the bullshit, spit without an eye, terrorize the invalids, leave them wondering why. Opening my life to find the real fix, work a little harder every day, becoming less of an idiot. I'm not a loser, I'm a goddamn failure. Losers never even try.
That was Endbringer with Less Than Perfect. So on to our next track, and who's this, Tom?
This is the last band of the evening, and this is a band that we interviewed over a year ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, some very good friends of ours. It's Satan's Empire with the track All Hallows Eve.
Witches casting spells from down below. Necromancer summoning the horse. Demons casting shadows on the wall. Warlocks leading covens to the cold.
Fantastic. So that was Satan's Empire with All Hallows Eve. So I think we're coming to the end of our very first podcast, Tom.
It is. It's so cool, isn't it, that the Metal Lab is now going to have a monthly podcast for everyone to listen in on all the wonderful underground bands that we promote.
Exactly, a real voice to the voice of the underground.
So we'd just like to say thank you for everyone that's listening tonight. Shout out to everyone who supports us, and just come and keep joining any labels or any promotional companies out there that want their stuff to be heard on the Metal Lab. Just come over and join the group. We're the platform that will give you the exposure that we can, and all for free. We don't charge anything. We just love to promote the underground and the whole DIY experience that the bands tend to live.
Yeah, so come join us over at the Metal Lab,
the home of underground metal.
Fly, 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 fly.